The boy I liked when I was 17 committed suicide. Online opened his blog. Thousands of articles. Behind his sadness and love for me was known to all. At the end, he wrote, "Only you can save me." That night, I went back to the day we first met and surrounded him. He has always been lonely, arrogant bustle. Students, it is not good, right? I'm burning up. I know the news, or I am in the evening rush on the crowded subway. Next to them were two high school girls, whispering in their school uniforms. I heard some fragments: Shizuo, sleeping pills, Chuyun mist. These keywords are linked together. It is easy for me to think of some bad things. There is a moment of tinnitus. I twisted his head to look at the two girls. Sue was shocked by my eye straight lang. A girl hesitated. "Sister, you also like the burning shoe?" I was confused by this question, nodded. The girls immediately showed a sympathetic expression. "I'm sorry." "What a pity. When you die, I'll have the chance to say I like you in front of others." The topic of Xu Jiju's suicide has risen to the first place. Xu Yun, a good friend, made all his private articles on one of his blogs public according to Xu Jiju's will. I scrolled through his posts. He wrote in the creation of how painful in the entertainment industry to maintain their sharp edges and corners, how difficult. I feel the same pain in my heart. In these articles, he is missing a person called Jiang Lan. What a coincidence. He has the same name as me. I would have thought it was me if I hadn't known that I barely dealt with Xu in high school. But when I saw the last one, my tears were instantly dry on my face. September 2nd, 2014 today, a student listened to my original, competitive sense of achievement, really want to open a concert to sing to her a person. I'm thinking, it doesn't matter how many people don't understand me, I'm lucky to have been taken seriously. If one day I will give up, then only Jiang Lan will save me. Moment, in front of thousands of articles with Jiang Lan has the answer. Jiang Lan is me. My heart beat uncontrollably, but it was followed by a deep weakness. What if I was brave? Could I have saved him? The dead are gone, but the living will go to work tomorrow. I looked in the mirror at the redness of my eyes and sighed. The burning of comfort. In the next life, I hope you'll be a normal but happy child. That night, I dreamed of burning. In my dream, the sky is orange like an oil painting. I am standing on the playground. The distance is playing basketball, strange students. It's all so familiar. 8 years ago. Just then, behind me sounded a guitar sound, accompanied by a teenager singing in a low voice. Suddenly, I froze. This scene, I will never forget in my life. It was because I overheard Xu Jijuan's creation that I began to have a crush on him. The voice behind continues. I stiffly turned, fixedly looking at the boy in front. Xu's burning at this time is only 17 years old, his face still with baby fat, hair hanging in the forehead, eyes pure. Temperament has not yet debuted melancholy. Sensing my burning eyes, he stopped. Classmate. He was about to say something when he suddenly stopped. My tears streaked down my cheeks. Xu's burning stood up, put the other aside, hurriedly from the trouser pocket to find a packet of paper towels. I sing. It's not a sad song, is it? He handed it to me. Or is there something unhappy about you? From Xu Jiju's personal diary, I know that Xu Jijua also fell in love with me at first sight because of my appreciation of his music. I threw aside my former reserve and awkwardness, and suddenly, without warning, I caught myself in a burning waste. I'm glad you're still alive. I choked out the words. Xu raised her hands as I held him. Many of the students behind began to heckle and whistle. Students, this is not good, right? His burning ears were red, and he was too stiff to move. I let go of my hand and took a piece of jade from my neck. This piece of jade is my childhood grandfather in a scenic spot for me to beg, said it can guarantee peace. It has been accompanied me. I have indeed been disease-free since childhood. Now I spread this piece of jade in front of the Shizuan. To you. If it can protect me, it can also protect you. Anyway, in my dream, I can do whatever I want. My burning ears were reddened by my behavior, and I couldn't figure it out. This. His clear eyes seemed to burst with water, and his hand took them. Thanks. He held my jade in the palm of his hand and tightened it. Look at my line of sight again, some serious. Students, have we met? I paused, shook my head, and with great effort managed to suppress the sourness of my heart and smile at him. Maybe as soon as I see you and hear your music, I feel a special kind of familiarity. The first acquaintance with you is like the return of an old friend. My consciousness gradually recovered. The moment my eyes opened, my face was cold. Sure enough, the dream of burning shoe ore will be sad. When I arrived at the company, the atmosphere was gloomy. No sooner had I sat down than my colleague approached me. Have you read Shu Jijua's public blog? My heart was suddenly pricked a thorn, but still strong support nodded. My colleague burst into conversation. I can't believe how much pain there is in my heart. Also, I can't believe this handsome guy would have love and not get it. Oh, but that girl must like him too. Otherwise, how can it be directly to Shu Jijuan picked the jade? All of a sudden, my eyes opened wide, and even my breathing became heavy. What did you say? With that, I opened the shoe of burning blog, turned to the last one. A piece of jade. My colleague's words came out suddenly, and I also happened to see the content that Shu Jijuan's blog article didn't have yesterday. The girl burst into tears when she saw me. She also said she had torn her jade off, and her neck was red in an instant. But when she was finally asked her name, she ran away without saying anything. But this, it's what I do in my dreams. How is that possible? I mumbled to myself, my colleague's eyes a little puzzled. Didn't you watch the news? Shuji had this jade in her hand before she died. But you also have the same name as this girl. What a coincidence. If I understand you correctly, it was last night's dream that really gave me a chance to save my life. But why? He committed suicide. I was gasping for air at my desk, hating myself for not taking my chances. Back home, I simply watched Gargle and fell into a dream. This time, I must hold him back. The scene in today's dream is a dark path outside the school gate. Should have missed the evening self-study class just after the crowd, now on the path of very few people. Don't know this is me and Shu burning which scene? Suddenly, I heard an angry shout from the side alley. Don't touch my guitar. I had an instant impression. In the second year of high school, Shu Jijua's body had a bad fight outside the school incident. Said it was a fight, but he was almost unilaterally beaten. The cause is Shu Jijua accidentally found his classmates were vocational schoolboys to collect protection money. So he took his classmates away. There were also many brothers of Shu Zakalo. Those people were afraid of Shu Zakalo, so they let him go at that time. Later, they found a few social small bludgeon at the time of school to Shetsukuo brought to the alley. It is said that the comfortable burning with a long-time guitar hit, comfortable burning outnumbered. Shu then bought a new one, but apparently his face lightened every time he played. Originally, this is the burning shoe. And I'm just a 17-year-old girl now. I thought calmly, every time Lao-He was on duty, he would stay in the office for a while after the evening self-study. Now there are only a few lights of the school has become a strong stimulant for me. I stepped aside and called the police. He also sent a message to the old. He teacher, there are students outside the school gate blackmailed our school. After sending the message, I put it against the wall and covered my breath. The alley is now a sound of oil and gas. We don't have to touch this, but you owe my brother an apology. On what grounds? There was a noise inside, as if the man had hit the wall with a guitar. Don't move. In the quiet alley, the sound was like a lion's sob. Even though I knew I had to protect myself, I couldn't just sit back and do nothing. If this guitar is gone, the psychological damage will certainly be more comfortable burning it. Thought of here, I gritted my teeth and stood in the alley mouth. The smell of smoke wafted from inside, and through the dim streetlights I could see 3 young men with dyed hair and 2 students in school clothes. And Shu's burning was pushed by the 2 vocational school students on the other side of the wall. Side head to see me, there is no stopping the shock in his eyes. I looked at them, and then I looked at Shu Jijua with angry eyes. Shu Jijua, how did you do this to my guitar? I won't lend it to you next time. I walked over to the guy with the guitar and held out my hand in front of him. Expensive. The guitarist smiled, but nothing happened. Let the boy pay for the damage. There was a roar of laughter, and a large hand took hold of my hair and pushed me to the ground. My face immediately attached to the cold ground, rubbing out a burning pain. Do you really think we're stupid? This guitar goes with you everywhere, and you don't have to ask much to know that it belongs to you. But I'm just holding them off for a little while they break the guitar. My cell phone screen lit up, and I saw the message from Lao He. Where? Oh, good. He's still here. Don't you touch her. Come at me. Ho, so angry now? This girl is your girlfriend. I propped myself up and saw that Xu Jizhua was red in the face at the moment and had actually broken free from the shackles of those two men. He lifted me to my feet and looked down at the side of my face where I had hit the ground. Don't you understand the simple matter of apologizing? As if frightened by the sudden explosiveness of the ease, the guitarist retreated, and the hand holding the guitar loosened a bit. 7. All of a sudden, I heard the sound of a car being unlocked at the school gate. I raised my voice. You're blackmailing our school. Why should we apologize? Sure enough, the heavy footsteps of the moment toward the alley straight. Old he is against the light. No hair on the top of the head of the place by the street lamp shines some light. Is simply living Buddha. Where are you students from? Those a few people all look at old he in a twinkling, seem to be the teacher that didn't react to rush out from where. My eyes are sharp and my hands are quick. I grabbed the guitar that was burning. Yes, got it. Go, go, go. The two vocational school boys got scared first and ran down the alley. And the three social youths were not interested in seeing the troublemaker go. Before leaving, he also said harsh words to Xu Jizhua. I'll find you next time. Xu Jizhua looked away and said to old he, Teacher, it's Su Ling and Zhou Meng from vocational school. I touched the surface of the guitar as if just been hit, the guitar surface somewhere, but should not affect the use. Suddenly, I felt a ray of hot vision. I looked over and saw Xu Shu's son was staring at me, looking at me holding his guitar like a baby. Then I collected my satisfaction and handed him the guitar. Oh, yours. Xu Jizhua took over the guitar, but the sight has not left me. By the way, thank you so much this time. The burning eyes blinked, but why? I felt the familiar sensation of vertigo and knew I was going to wake up again. So I said, because I want to hear you sing. When I woke up, I went to the internet again to search for information about Shizuzuan. See the hot search of the burning suicide of that Xu is still in. The mind is suddenly very blocked. What went wrong? I've tried so hard. Why did Xu Jiwan die? With a heavy heart, I went to work. Today, HR took a leave of absence. My boss asked me to help with the interview. My hand paused as I read the candidate's resume. My last job was in the studio at Shujiburn. When I interviewed her, I couldn't help but drink water to improve my concentration. I couldn't help but interject when she was telling me about her previous work experience. What do you think of your former boss? The candidate looked at me as if I were a melon eater, with a look of discontent in his eyes. I don't really have any problems with my former company. The boss is a public figure, but he is really warm. It's just that the media keeps writing about him, and he probably needs someone to really stand by him. This inspired me. Xu Jizhuan in the entertainment industry ups and downs these years may really need a confidant. This time when I fell asleep, I told myself countless times. For a second time, I must stand beside Xu. When I opened my eyes, people were screaming in my ears. This is already Senior 3, in a city-level singing competition, Xuzhua to participate in the top 10 competition. People from our school got wind of it and came along. Xu Jizhua performed really well. He was the only minor, but he won the first prize. At that time, many girls rushed forward to hand him water and drinks, as well as photos with him. I was also in the audience for a long time to drum the courage, but to see the layers of the crowd, it seems intuitive to see the gap between me and him. So I just walked away. As before, this time I was still squeezed in the outermost layer. But the only difference is that this time Xu Jizhuan has been looking for something in the crowd. My heart tingled and I tentatively waved my arm at him. When he saw me there, Xu gave a relaxed smile, and then he edged away from the crowd. You're here. Tone in the familiar let me startled, I nodded. Xu Jizhua suddenly felt a bit embarrassed. I didn't see you when I was singing just now. Wait, I feel like the timeline has changed again. Because I got involved in the last time he got into trouble with the public, I became friends with Shu. This time, Shu Jijuan invited me on his own initiative. There was a sudden and violent warmth in his chest. Well, I'm sure I'll come. When I watched Shu Jijuan sing his original works on the stage before, I only held a sneaking admiration. But this time, I can actually stand in front of him and express my approval. I remember the song sung by Shu Jijuan this time was very gentle, similar to the farewell song of graduation season. But then he entered the competition, and the songs he sang were mainstream love songs. Once in a while, I have a song of my own, which is not very well known. You've got a really good song. Sing more songs like this in the future. What is rarer in itself is the creative talent. On the contrary, if Shu Jijuan caters to the public aesthetic too much, he will not give play to his advantages. We went to the convenience store, and there was an ad on the TV. Shu's Burning clearly looked at the ads, walked the road. I followed his gaze, and there was an ad on TV for a new star on campus. This program is the one Shu took part in before. My breath asphyxiation saw the comfortable burning to hook the corner of the mouth. The fundus of the eye has the ambition to surge. This year, I'm going to do it. My heart is full of mixed feelings. I know what will happen if he goes into show business, but I can't stop him from pursuing his dream. It's cruel. As we left the convenience store, he suddenly stood in front of me, bending down to my eye level. Don't you look happy? His eyes sparkled with puzzlement, as if I didn't approve of his abilities. No, in fact, I just feel deeply powerless after watching this program. If into the entertainment industry, Shu Jijuan will be as in the future as Into the Pressure, and then towards extinction. I mustered my courage and smiled reassuringly at Shu. No, I just feel the pressure of the entertainment industry is too much. That's all. Shu's burning Ling Lung revealed an unruly smile. I'm not scared. As long as I have an audience, I'm not afraid of boos. Say the last word. Shu's burning eyes looked at me deeply. I see. I looked at the bright jade around his neck and felt relieved. Come on. Even if no one listens to your song, I'll be the only one listening. Different from before, I must stand beside you and cheer for you. Watching the burning eyes gradually become hot, I added a sentence. I will always be with you. When I pulled away from the dream, my last second of consciousness was to fall into the arms of a mint incense. When I woke up again, I was shocked by the layout of the room. The roomy, comfortable 2-meter bed was a far cry from the 5-family rental I'd shared. To my consternation, this time I came back to reality in the late afternoon. The afterglow from the French window pouring on the floor of the bedroom, giving a sense of panic. This point in time. Shouldn't I just get up? I went to the balcony. Based on the outside view, can tell here is the most prosperous area of our city. From my vantage point, I can see an LED screen in the plaza announcing the time in real time. The date on it took my breath away. March 20th. It was the day she took her own life. My heart jumped uncontrollably. My cell phone rings and I rush back to my bedroom. But the caller didn't seem to expect me to answer, so he hung up after only a brief sound. I looked at the above name, Shu Burning, tears in an instant. This time, does it really change the way you end up dead? I couldn't pass up the chance, so I hurried back with trembling hands. There is a sense of confusion in my chest chaos bump. I listened to the phone beeps, more anxious. But he snapped it. Meanwhile, I received a tip from WeChat. I like you. My eyes widened. I even held my breath. When I opened WeChat, I found that he had sent me several messages. But I just saw that I like you has been withdrawn by him. You should be sleeping by now. I didn't sleep, but I don't know what to tell you. I can't take it anymore. I'm sorry you gave me the jade. I've been forgetting to tell you. The other party has retracted a message. I have hidden a lot of articles on my blog. My password is SCZCHYU123. I hope you can help me publish them. Since he and I are best friends in this world, I took Chu's place and needed to help him reveal Bhuvan. I knew instantly what he was going to do, and the pain of losing him was still fresh in my mind. This is the closest I've ever been to him. I can't lose this chance again. As I typed, I prayed that Shu had not committed suicide. Shu Burns. I like you. So please live. Everybody loves your music. I'm not lying. In the wake of his previous deaths, several news outlets have made a point of honoring him. I was very impressed with one that had a lot of music fans on its staff. Because Xu Zhizhuan's image is an idol singer, plus the company has been restricting his creation and publication, so Xu Zhizhuan probably did not expect his songs also attracted fans. Their voices are small, but they're there. I took a taxi to the comfortable burning company, but half a day did not wait for the news pop-up. I looked out the window of the backward scenery, just wanted faster. It seems that I come to the studio so often that the security guard sees me and doesn't even ask for entrance. I ran up to the floor where Xu's studio was. The whole office was silent, with only one dim light on, and it was hard to see the layout on each desk. I dared to shout. I could even hear the echo. The light was on in one room, the door was ajar, and the moment I opened it, I saw Shuji seared to the floor, her lips white, an empty pill bottle on the floor. Shushu burns. I called for an ambulance in a hurry and his voice was full of tears. Shu's burning face has been cold. This is so many years. We first close contact. Tears drop on his face. This time, I'm still late. Shu of Searing already decided. I witnessed him tightly hold me to send his jade. Heart cannot tell what is the taste. Since I care so much, why do I have to go? I went to his office to pack up some new music. But Xu Zhizhua wrote 2 words on it. Shit. I feel heartache for his self-abandonment, hand unconsciously page after page over. Turning the last page, I stopped. Because only the last page didn't have those 2 words written on it. And this piece of paper, some yellowing, obviously is some years old. On this piece of paper are 2 words, playground. The words fit perfectly with our meeting. My hand trembled. What the hell? Did you try to get the song out? My mind raised a question, quickly grabbed the side of the staff, asked. The worker looked at me with some hesitation. He did talk to the boss of the company some time ago about planning his route. We seem to have had an unpleasant chat. Here's the song you're holding. Brother Scorch tried to sing it, but he got hit back. Sure enough, I was right. The staff seemed to open the chatterbox. Erishur sister, burning brother seems to enter the company soon, depressed, you know. My mind goes blank. If Xu really wants to survive, the first thing to do is to stop him from joining a company that is going in a different direction. The only thing that has changed in this rebirth is my professional status. I didn't think that the words, I want to be with the sun forever, would save not the sun, but myself. I went home and began to research. She was at the end of the race and, as the #1 player, of course signed with the biggest company. But one of them has done well since then. This time, I must let Shuji burn alive. A heavy sleep came over me. I keep reminding myself that we'll be seeing each other soon. When I regained consciousness, the cheers in my ears were deafening. This is the scene of the Nova competition. At this time, Xu Zhizhua just finished singing his first original work, and his popularity is far ahead. I sat in the group of relatives and friends, saw the center of the stage Shizuzuo find me, winked at me. Young now is the most high-spirited time, did not think of the ordeal after. My heart next acid, last time, Shuji searing death in front of me. It's good to see him alive right now. There will be a short break before the second round of shows. I was going to talk to Shu about signing the company at that time. Wait until the break time, I ran to rely on the name tag given by the program team to the lounge. A makeup artist was fixing his hair beside Xu Zhizhuan. But Shu's burning eyes kept looking from the mirror toward the door. See me in the past, comfortable burning eyes suddenly bright. You came. As soon as I walked in, people around me were looking at me in the wrong way. Like I'm wondering who I am. Chu Yun was sitting next to Xu Zhizhua. He was closing his eyes, and the makeup artist was powdering his face. Which company do you want to go to? Not yet. I'll go to whoever wants me. I think you are the iron first, not the company choose you. You choose the company. I looked at Chu Yun's slightly green face, but also some feelings. When Chu Yun entered the competition, he was a junior in college, averagely popular and averagely talented, and he signed with an average company. But the ordinary company praised Chu Yun very much, so after 7 years, Chu Yun has become a famous actor. And comfortable burning eyes now also with natural pride. He should be proud. He's just out of luck. Talk here. Comfortable burning eyes looked at me. Jianglan, what do you think? I looked at him and said solemnly, any house is fine, but don't go to Fenghua Media. As soon as these words came out, the others all turned their heads to look at me, and some even laughed. Because now we all know, Fenghua Media is a veteran management company under a dozen A-list stars. Into the Fenghua Media, the basic does not have to boil become famous before the meal is not enough time. Sister, let's see if we can get in. A contestant I didn't know teased me. His burning face turned ugly. What's it to you? He suppressed his anger and looked at me quizzically. Never mind, I'm doing you a favor. Because I want your talent to be recognized. Because I want to keep you from not understanding. Shu's burning eyes will look at me for a while. Obviously my answer stepped on his thunder. His lips parted. I see. Most of the contestants were eliminated after the second round, and the third round was finished quickly. In the 3 rounds of competition, Shu Zhizhuan took all his own original creations. Combined with his maverick personality and handsome face, he became the first fault. As before, Shu Zhizhua became a hit with this show. At the end of the show, the host said that Shu Zhizhua was a miracle of this talent show. When choosing a company, Fenghua Media extended an olive branch and said all the right things. I was a bit perplexed. In fact, can also understand, after all, Fenghua Media now give out the conditions. It is really difficult to refuse. I took a deep breath and I was so relieved. You must listen to me. Shizuo picked up the microphone, eyelid drooping. Thank you for your love. But I'd like to have more say. He refused. There was uproar both on and off the court. Shu's burning took the microphone, hung his head, carefully looked at the words in the eyes, also with a little at a loss. But he repeated his answer firmly. The second place in the race was suddenly struck by luck, and the joy on his face could not be controlled. By the time the show was over, the runner-up who had signed the deal was surrounded by others. Shu Zhizhua stood by and signed a contract with another company. This company, I also have the impression, although it is still very small, but the training is strength. I think Shu's choice is right, but when he stands alone, I still feel a little lonely. Shu's burning still carrying the guitar. Guitar surface knock the mouth is still clearly visible. After this competition, Shu Zhizhua fans group, although the number has not changed, but all people feel that the flow is a flush. I hope I didn't make him make the wrong decision. Shu Zhizhua escorted me back to my hotel. We seemed to be silent all the way. I began to worry about things belatedly. What if a small company is in trouble, too? What if the burning of Shu still can commit suicide? How to do? I don't think I'm capable of seeing another burn in front of me. Shu Zhizhua spoke first. Actually, I didn't want to go to Fenghua. This made me stop. I couldn't tell for a moment if he meant it or if he was just saying it to comfort me. He turned, and the moonlight fell on his face, moistening it just right. I'm telling the truth. In fact, I do not know which company to go to. Everyone said Fenghua good. I also think Fenghua good. I stared at him, as if I could hear the cogs of fate turning in my ears. Was it not against his own will that I stopped him, but to advance his will? At this point, I had an epiphany about the meaning of work. Shu Zhizhua looked at my eyes with sincere trust. I really think you say every word, and I think the same. Then he laughed twice. Don't you think I'm too hot to be read? I'll make music for them. Seeing him like this, I was dumbfounded for a second. This is full of pride in the ease of burning This is to use their own works to move the audience of the ease of burning AH. I was so excited that tears came to my eyes. You're the best. I couldn't help jumping over and wrapping my arms around my burning neck. Anyway, I was about to enter the stage of syncope, a little bit less reserved, also just endure the past. Why do you always hug people when you don't agree with them? Shu's burning mouth said so, but the hand was gently placed on my back. But just for a moment, he let go like a hot potato. By the way, I'd like to say, I sniffed the lemon on him and muttered a small protest. I know what you're going to say, but let's not think about that right now, okay? I'm going to give you a quiz. Aren't you in show business? I heard it's stressful. If you don't quit by the time you're 26, I'll do it. Why 26? Don't ask. With your jade, I'm sure I can stand it. This sentence makes my heart tremble. But the first few times you are holding a jade, but you still do not want to open. When I woke up this time, I felt like I'd had the best sleep I'd had in days. But at the sight of the familiar twilight, the bell rang again in my heart. I picked up the phone and looked at the time, 2 minutes before my last call. I jumped out of bed, changed my shoes, and ran out. As I got off the elevator, I searched through my phone's chat history and learned about the company I now work for. I can't miss a second. Just as I was getting into the taxi, the hot call came. I didn't miss it. I picked it up before the first tone had finished. Hey, Shujijwa, listen, I've got the answer. I'm on my way to tell you now. If you weren't there, I would regret it for the rest of my life. Will you wait for me? The opposite issued a slight sound of electricity. Just when I think Shizizua will not return, he issued a syllable. Wait for me. I dropped the words heavily, but heard no response from the other side, slipped and hung up. Driver from the rearview mirror has been looking at me, and finally could not help but ask, Little sister, you see this is not to go to the hospital, how to say so creepy. My hands are intertwined, as if this will ease my anxiety. It's not going to the hospital. But again, it's all about saving lives. The teacher listened to this sentence, immediately understand what, a foot accelerator to send. Came to Shu's burning new studio. I saw almost the same scene as last time. The dim light seemed to tell me that I would still see the psycho. I couldn't stop my temples jumping twice. Approaching the half-open door, I took a deep breath and pushed it open. Shujijwa sat on the floor with her whole head on the sofa and an open medicine bottle on the table. Shushu burns. I was about to jump when I saw the man sitting on the ground lift his head. Huh. His eyes were half open and his face was tired. What's going on? I took out my phone and checked the time. 0 minutes had passed since he had committed suicide. So, did I stop it? While I was waiting for you, I fell asleep. Shujijwa's hand was holding a musical score, and he seemed a little embarrassed. I approached. It is the playground, this song. This is actually the second time I've seen the score of the song, but I still act surprised. I'm in a bad mood because I don't like the song, okay? Shujijwa had intended to hide the music score, but when he heard this, he frowned and looked a little funny. No, everybody loves it. Then why? Jianglan, how can you think I am in a bad mood? In the eyes of the burning shoe inquiry, I am speechless. Why do you think you called me here? We hit it off. I want answers. Aren't you here to give them to me? Shujijwa stood up, and I noticed that he was holding something in his other hand, and I could see blood. My expression instantly becomes severe. Don't from sensei to grab Shu of burn of hand. What are you doing? Originally, I thought Shuji burn do self-harm what, but open his palm, I saw the familiar piece of jade. I admit, I'm in a bit of a bad mood. Shu saw that things had come to light and immediately slipped and knelt down. But I remember what you said, so when I found myself unable to think properly, I began to seize the jade. I have mixed feelings, this piece of jade. It's finally working. I looked at the drugs on the table. They were antidepressants. Shu took the initiative to explain. Several years, do not want to worry about others. Although some weak, but looked comfortable burning well, I am also relieved. When I came here, I searched for a lifetime's worth of acting experience. It's certainly not as good as signing with a big company before, but the personality label is still much sharper than before. As I sat at the table thinking, I suddenly came closer. His shadow came over me. What are you doing? Where's my answer? This thing. I just said it in the car, but it's about time. You promise you won't leave me. Shujijwa Ilang, I asked you first. If you suddenly leave, I'm sure I'll have a lifetime of shadows. I put the piece of jade back into Shu's burning palm and closed his 5 fingers. I will always accompany you. When you can't see me, look at this jade. Shu of burning I frame a red, ordered to nod. He forced a smile. What's the answer? I hooked my fingers, and as he approached, I put my arms around his neck. Don't you know the answer? Shu's burning is ready to push me away, I added. When the first meeting, the eyes of love is my first gift to you. Not 17 days ago. It was many years ago when I was 17. We are together at last.